Hello and welcome to Alone in the South Passage, a Star Wars podcast. This week we are covering not Star Wars, we're going to cover Spaceballs, but we'll get into that in a moment. I am your host, David, and as ever, I am joined by my good friend, close companion, and a man who bears some resemblance to John Candy. It is Stefan. How are you, Steph?
I'm doing very well. Now, I take that as a massive compliment as a huge fan of John Candy's.
I would.
More than a passing resemblance.
Don't compare me to Bill Pullman. I wouldn't take that as a compliment. That's unfair. Bill, if you're listening, I don't mean it. I don't mean a word of it.
No, you do resemble Mel Brooks with each passing year, though.
Mel Brooks, for dear. shrinking by the day.
Yeah. You could probably make two Mel Brooks. Right? Yeah, I was going to say you can make two of you.
No,
but yes, I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Have you been up to much this week? Have you done anything of note?
Of note? What Star Warsy stuff? It's always
just life. You're not just talk about your life as well.
What, is there? I didn't know there was life outside of Star Wars. That's very confusing.
No, I mean there's not much.
I'm now scared and I don't know what's happening. I'm continuing to brush up on my Ahsoka and Thrawn stuff. Because obviously that's going to become more important as we go along.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to expose myself to them a little bit more, not in a weird way, just in a normal exposure.
In a perfectly legal way.
That's it.
We shan't be exposing ourselves unnecessarily.
Not Rain Mac in a park kind of way, in a kind of I'm just watching episodes that they're in and finding out a bit more about them. Not this week, no. No, it's been too temperamental, the weather, for that kind of thing. So.
It's been shit, isn't it? I know. But bear in mind, if you are listening in other parts of the world, and I'm loath to complain about the fact that it's been a bit wet and dreary here, because quite frankly, I'll take wet and dreary over what I've seen on the news. If you are in a part of the world that has been unbelievably hot, you have my deepest sympathies, and I hope your situation improves soon.
Yeah. Kind of glad I didn't book that trip to Sicily now. It's 46 degrees there today.
I mean, that's just bonkers, isn't it?
Oh, no,
that's bonkers. We're not going to get too much into Spaceballs right now, but one of the things I picked up in Spaceballs is where obviously the whole thing is kind of built around the idea that the Spaceballs have destroyed their atmosphere.
Yeah,
like, that doesn't sound like something.
It's a bit far-fetched, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of crazy sci-fi story is that?
Yeah, nearly 40 years ago, someone said that. Whoops. Another cautionary tale for some science fiction. Yeah, exactly. Well, we have known. Well, some of us have. Some of us still think, fuck it.
Still bury their heads in the ever-increasing sand.
I still have to scrape my car once a year. Sorry, so it must. There must be get cold sometimes.
Exactly. But anyway. How are you? I haven't asked you how you are.
Oh, thank you, Stefan. I am absolutely fine. I've had a busy week, but nothing out of the ordinary. I haven't. Do you know what? I haven't done much of note at all this week. Nothing of any great interest at all.
Put some shelves up.
I've put some shelves up. If you see anything on Instagram or on YouTube, potentially, if we ever get to it, you may see that I've done some DIY. But that's about it. That's about it, really. I have had my daughter gave me a wonderful compliment last night, but followed it up immediately just to balance things out with something else. I was putting her to bed, and she said, "Daddy, I love you. You are the best dad in the world."
Oh.
To which I responded, "Thank you so much, sweetheart. That's so lovely." And she said, "Except when you get angry with me." I was like,
"You what, you little shit?
fucking what?" No,
I'll show you angry.
So I was like, and then, bear in mind, I'd literally just put the book down, said goodnight, I was ready to walk out the door, and then I got into a discussion. I was like, well, why do you think I said, I'm just not necessarily that I'm angry, but why do you think sometimes I'm not happy with you? And then we had a 10-minute chat about that. It all ended. All's well that ends well. But no, she didn't.
Ended with you both in tears, I imagine.
Yeah. just wrestling on the floor. Going, come on. So
that's lovely.
No,
good old kids.
That's the only thing I've got to say about it this week.
That's fair enough.
No. Actually, there was one. There was one interesting thing. My daughter. It's basically, it all revolves around my daughter this week. She came home from school. I guess probably yesterday. What day is it? What day is it now? Monday.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday now. We're recording this on Wednesday this week, by the way. Yesterday it would have been. She came home from school. As we were walking home from school, she randomly just said to me, "Daddy, my favourite Star Wars character is Anakin Skywalker."
Oh.
I was like, sorry? She said, "Oh, my favourite character is Anakin Skywalker."
Well, you weren't already talking about Star Wars.
Yeah. I said, well, let's not. No, we weren't. It had not come up in conversation at all. We were talking about something completely different.
Nice. Unprompted.
My immediate response was like, well, you're wrong.
Your opinion is wrong.
Your opinion, while valid, is unfortunately incorrect.
Did she justify it?
No, but then I said, genuinely what I said was, like, well, how come she's saying that? She said, well, I was reading about it at school today. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, we have free reading time, like late in the afternoon. Say late in the afternoon. For them, it's like 1:30. And there's a Star Wars book on the shelf. So I decided to read that. And apparently her and a couple of her friends were reading it and debating who their favourite characters were. I was like, wow.
Nice. That's restored my faith in the national curriculum.
I don't think this is free reading time. There's nothing to do with the curriculum.
Oh, what? Get it on the curriculum, for God's sake. I've been saying it for years.
Could be. Well, absolutely.
Well,
should be. Well, history.
Could be taught under myths and history. And national history. I've got one more piece of Star Wars news. Sort of, not really, actually, but I'll do it anyway. So, I was at this stuffy work conference a week ago on Friday in London. Stuffy. Oh man, it felt like a right pillock. But I was somewhere where I shouldn't be in a conference, and the guy's icebreaker.
Was that speaking?
No, I definitely shouldn't have been speaking.
Somewhere I shouldn't have been. I was disseminating information. I should definitely not have been doing it.
No, it was just corporate espionage, nothing more. But the guy who was speaking, to his icebreaker, he told a joke, and it was a Star Wars joke, which blew me away because I thought, wow, corporate do Star Wars joke. I was amazed. And I'd actually never heard it before, and I quite liked it. So I thought I'd tell it to you if you're game.
Go on then. I tell you what. You tell me the joke. Is it standard structure of there being a punchline? Is it a punchline I'd be able to work out?
Well, let's hope so.
Okay.
Let's hope so. Okay, so in Star Wars, there's lots of characters who are known by nicknames. So you got Chewie, which is short for Chewbacca. You got 3PO, which is short for C3PO. But what's Luke short for? You say I don't know.
I don't know. What is Luke short for?
A stormtrooper.
Hey.
Took you a second, but you did get there.
Yeah. No. I like that. I was
quite impressed by that. It was quite a good one.
It's a good one.
You can have that.
I think that's good.
Thank you.
Good. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
Spread it far and wide.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like now you've said it. I've heard it before.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean I didn't. While you were telling it, I didn't know I'd heard it before. But I feel like now you've said it, I'm like, I think I have heard that before. But it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I may use it myself.
It was reminded me of that other. I was going to say, it reminds me of that other sort of Lucasfilm joke. What's ET short for? He's only got little legs. There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. Oh there man, we are
wonderful stuff.
Should we move on?
Yes, let's move on. Anyway, this week, Spaceballs. It's an episode. Actually, we've spoken about Spaceballs quite a few times in our previous chats, and now we're 22 weeks in, I think.
And I think
got
episode 2 we were talking about Spaceballs.
I actually think we did it. Yeah, episode 2. Was that when we covered A New Hope?
I think so.
We mentioned it. We mentioned it. We said we're going to.
We covered it very early on.
How we cover things. Yeah.
Yeah. And we said, oh yeah, there's a great idea for an episode. And then we sort of said last week, oh yeah, we're doing the Spaceballs episode next week. Might have been prudent to have watched the film first before we decided.
Before we committed to an episode. Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than announcing it and then watching it. But
let's see.
Let's see how we go. We're getting a bit better at the planning now, though, aren't we? We're actually planning more than 5 minutes ahead now. So
we have. We've let you in a little secret. We've had a little production meeting this week. We've planned nearly 2 months ahead. 2 months.
Crazy. So much content.
I mean, you know what? Now you've actually said that, I haven't got the information in front of me. So when we get to the end of this episode, and I have to say next week I'm going to have to open a new sheet and have a look and see. But I'll make sure we're ready for that when the time comes.
Tell you what's on next week when we're ready.
Something to do with Thrawn?
No.
Oh, John Williams.
Yes,
John Williams.
The music of Star Wars.
Yeah, but let's talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, let's not get too much into that now. Let's get into Spaceballs. So, for those who are not aware, if you've never seen Spaceballs, 1987 film, which was largely a parody of Star Wars, but did reference other films as well. It was, if you haven't seen it, then this episode might be a bit weird for you. So we'll see how we go. From my childhood, I remember this film very fondly. I remember seeing it for the first time probably quite soon after it came out, actually. I think we rented it from a video shop at the time. And I remember generally feeling quite happy about it and laughing a lot because, let's face it, I'd have been about 8 years old and with a very 8-year-old sense of humour. Probably, actually. Shouldn't have been watching it at 8. I don't know what rating it had. I can't remember.
It's a 12, I think.
Is it a 12? But 12 wouldn't have existed when it came out.
No, it's probably a PG or something.
Probably
like
a PG. It was like that.
Yeah.
That weird bit between 15 and PG.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of swearing, not much. I mean, there's no nudity. There's no drug use.
No.
So it's probably that. But yeah, watched it again this week. I won't tell you now what my feelings were, but Steff,
yes,
in terms of your feelings from when you watched it as a youngster to now, where have you gone?
Joe, I think I came to this film a lot later than you. I don't remember watching it until the early 90s. So it's kind of missed me when it was first out. I guess I was too young to know about it. I think I just caught it when it was on TV one time. And like you, I thought it was hysterical. I'd never seen, like a proper parody of something, and especially of something that I loved and do love so much. It was Star Wars, but they said shit and they did jokes about it. And it was, I really thought it was so funny. And the play on words and you could sort of see, oh, look, they're doing that bit. That character's meant to be that character. It was just, as a kid, that's something to be able to join the dots like that. I think it's very satisfying for a child, isn't it? And I just thought it was a great film. And there was nothing else like that I'd ever seen. It just felt totally original to me.
Very good. Very good. So having come back to it this week, how do we think it's aged?
Like milk, mainly, I would say. More that than like a nice cheese or a nice wine, I would say. Yeah, I don't think it's aged great. I think it feels very much like a product of its time, doesn't it? It feels very 80s. So. Yeah. Down to the naff music, and to be fair, the actual special effects aren't terrible to consider. They're not absolute howlers. They kind of hold up because it's not meant to be obviously a special effects movie. They're just there to supplement the jokes, really, aren't they?
Yeah. And also they're meant to be that because it's a comedy movie and it's parody. They're also in places at least meant to be a little bit shit.
Because true.
They are you know.
That's
And some
appeal,
some of the movies they're taking the piss out of had shit effects in them. So
yeah, quite.
Not Star Wars, obviously.
No, of course not. No, but it's. I mean, I think some of the jokes just don't work anymore. They're just not funny.
No,
the sort of the endless crotch grabbing gets tiring like after the second time at best, really. All the Jewish stroke druidia stuff, is just a little. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know. Just I couldn't see that playing out nowadays.
General stereotyping. It's not. Yeah, I made a note about. There was a particular one where, when they comb in the desert, and it's like that obligatory thing you got in the 80s with like, let's have a stereotypical Black American guy. It's like, we ain't found shit. It's like, well,
I did laugh a little bit at that still. But,
I mean, it was funny, but like if that was in a movie now, you'd just be like, that's just, what the fuck? That's just lazy. That's just lazy stereotype.
Exactly.
But then, and like we say, it's nearly 40 years old, this movie. So give it a
exactly.
pass on that.
You have, but I guess that kind of speaks to the timelessness of Star Wars, doesn't it? Is that it doesn't date in that way because it doesn't have the cheesy 80s music soundtrack and it doesn't have references to anything, modern. It was all, a film like this is always going to date worse than a classic space opera kind of thing, isn't it? So you've got to take that into context. The jokes are going to diminish over time.
But that's comedy movies in general, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't stay relevant forever, can they? It's part of it. But like the is it Hightower from Police Academy who's in it? It's just
Not
stuff
Hightower.
like that. It's just,
no, Michael Winslow.
What's his name? Yeah,
Hightower. The guy who does the sound effects.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his.
No, he actually did most of the sound effects on this. Jonesy.
Oh, really?
I believe. Yeah. Is that right? I think he did. He actually did. Not just the. He does obviously the jam, the radar thing. He's actually did loads of the other sound effects on this film.
Oh, it makes sense. Why not?
He was saying apparently, just got rather than using computers to do it, he got hired to do loads because he could.
He can. Why not? Probably cheaper than computers were at the time. But it's just, I showed my 11-year-old lad watched it with me, and obviously he's got zero idea who that guy is meant to be, so it doesn't have that cultural link as well. So it's. I found it funny because that guy used to be in all 80s movies, like Rick Moranis, I guess, just in all 80s movies.
Yeah, I saw something with him the other day, and he basically just like beatboxed. I can't remember. It was a Led Zeppelin track. I can't remember which one though.
Rick Moranis?
No, not Rick Moranis.
I'd pay to see.
Michael Winslow.
I'd buy that for $1. Yeah,
absolutely. He beatboxed. I can't remember which one.
Probably Whole Lot of Love or something, I'd imagine.
Yes, it was Whole Lot of Love. Spot on.
That's very beatboxy. Probably the most
better job
famous
than that,
riff.
He did
better than that.
He literally, but it sounded like he managed. He could obviously. I'm saying obviously he can do all those things, but he did it like proper, like distorted electric guitar sound, and it was
nice.
Oh, it was incredible. But yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's enough on our feelings on it. So good night. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you around the bend. No, let's have a little break. We'll come back and we'll explore more about certain features from it and things we still maybe are attached to that haven't aged as badly as other things, and we'll see what they are in a moment.